From Knott's. It's not Scary Farm Eve. Happy Scary Farm Eve to everybody that celebrates. This is going to be our last look. We've been doing some update videos. I think we did 4 of them maybe this year, of just kind of the park decor team and all the incredible work they do, what's going on with scare zones, all of that. And so this is it. Tonight's the night. It all wraps up and everything goes live tomorrow, just a little over 24 hours from now. So let's flip the camera around and make our way through this park. So we have 30 minutes until they close and boot us out of here. And we're going to try to show you everything we can in terms of the decor, the scare zone setup, show sets, anything we can do in this time here as we make our way around the park. So starting out here, obviously, at the entry statement here, pretty fantastic what they've done with our monstrous trio +2 this year at the very front of the park. They are advertising also outside. We should say anybody coming to the event this year, they are once again making sure are very strict on the bag policies, very strict on the chaperone policy and all of that. So do beware, make sure to read all the rules before we get there. Can we on the candy, calico candy? I don't think we're gonna be able to right now because we're barely gonna make it probably through all of the decor in the time we have allocated here, but it is open for business and people are able to check it out now. Same with the log ride as well. We'll kind of see some of the decor from the outside there, but the webs were late to get added this year. You can see them there. Adventure. We always say our Knott's Adventure, that's who to follow on Instagram if you want to see all of the photos, all of the stuff going on. We always love when we can't get out here, particularly to see what's going on at the parks and check out what they find. So definitely follow along with them on Instagram, our.knott.adventure. All sorts of great stuff all year long, not just for Scary Farm, all year long. All right, so for sure. All right, so pumpkins have been added. A lot of people it was interesting. The last video we did, what was that, 48 hours ago? People seemed very worried about the webs returning. We had people on social and on YouTube like, what's going on with the webs? Are all the webs just going to be used over on the new Maze Widows? But the webs are here. You've got the cloth. It's come into play. And make sure if you're coming, particularly if you're coming in the daytime, check out the various peek-ins to see what you're able to see inside. Some of them have some fun scares, and we've included that in some of our videos. Not that they're going to work during Scary Farm when this is all going to be filled with fog and some great lighting and some world-class monsters. Yep, with you. That's great to see them return. They are such a big part of the atmosphere here. I will say for anybody, oftentimes we get the question about weather. The weather is incredible here. So if you're coming out to Scary Farm for opening night tomorrow night, it should be about the exact same weather, which is just absolutely. At this point, a good chunk of the stores do have Scary Farm merch, and you'll find it's interesting. There's things available at some of the stores that aren't at other stores. For example, we found the new Department 56. I don't know if it's changed the last 2 days, but it wasn't at the Legacy store at the time we checked it out, but it was available at Cordy's. So, you know, your mileage can. It's weird. We're having, I mean, the park's not empty, but we're having like more signal issue than I think we've had at Knott's in quite some time. Thank you, Mystic Traveler, for tuning in. We were glad. Truth be known, rushing here from work, I mean, basically got set up about, 5 minutes before hitting live on this. So haven't had a lot of time. I mean, we haven't been around the park at all. We basically walked in the gate and hit the live here. So haven't had a lot of time to do any scouting here. So I'm going to discover things with all of you maybe. All right, so Origins returns. Very excited that it was not included in the mazes being called for their final year this year. So I know a lot of people expected this to be the final year for Origins. It has had an incredible run here But it is getting another year, at least one more year, and I know we're excited about that. It is quintessential Knott Scary Farm, quintessential Knotts. And I always said the same thing about Trick or Treat. It always felt like Trick or Treat should just always exist. And it feels the same to me about Origins. It just feels like it should always exist in some form or another. Coming out on Sunday night. Awesome. Hope you have a fantastic time. We're very curious to see everything in play tomorrow. Thank you, Night Bodega. We always appreciate your support. The buffet is the best. We love the buffet. It's truly one of our longest traditions, Carmel and I. The buffet is just such a big tradition. Now, that said, we had some people ask about the midnight, the breakfast returning to Mrs. Knott's. There we go. What a beautiful bird. Not Scary Farm related, but pretty awesome. We actually have that's never been a tradition for us. So we don't have anything much to share there. We know hours have been posted. We know, again, referencing our friends at Our Knott's Adventure, they've been finding out info on it. And you can head over their Instagram, see more. But for us, honestly, we've never been up for a big meal at midnight. It's just not really ever been our thing. Yes. Hey, Dan. Good to see you there. These are the spooky times. We do have spiders. Not all of the spiders have been taken over to... They do have a number of t-shirts, maybe more this year than ever. In terms of... Night Bodega was asking about the packages there. For the hotel, I am not sure if that is included this year or not. Austin Meyer, can't get enough Scary Farm updates. Thanks for keeping up the hype up. Thank you. Oh, you're coming out tomorrow. Awesome. Hope you have a great time. If you just jumped in, we're talking just this weather is going to be pretty fantastic. It's like 72, I think, right now. It's so nice to be walking through parks and not be like hot and gross and all of that. So, all right, we're going to make our way up to the Goring 20s here. See the latest. Obviously, all of our pole ghouls. We always love to see them. A lot of the green cloth webs there. Be interesting to see them at night. The pumpkins make their way even to the very back corner, which I love. Like the park really, we always talk about the park decor team here just goes all out. But it feels like every year it's like taken up a notch. And once again this year, I mean, even over here behind, like not that many people are going to even get to see these, but still they went all out. You've got the stalks, you've got the pumpkins. It's fantastic. I mean, truly one of our favorite things about Knott Scary Farm for all these years has just been how much of the park, I mean, it takes over. It just really envelops everything at night. You don't have many spots. The elephant room, we're talking about Chilling Chambers elephant room. It definitely is one of those rooms I hold my breath when I go through. Pretty cool too. They really look so much. Agreed. Western entrance gate looks great as well. All right, the new San Charlton Circle Gazette. Yeah, when it comes to immersion, I'm not one for the smells. So we hold, or I should say I hold my breath quite a bit at Horror Nights and some of the rooms here too. Are they bringing the Devil's Elixir back? Those who dropped the ball and making it pink and not green. Seemed like such a miss last year. I would be shocked if the Devil's Elixir's not back. And on that note, if you head over to Virginia's, the store in the marketplace, and you check out the factory store equivalent window where they have the Berry Tales frogs and stuff in there, there is some of the Devil's Elixir spilled right in there. All right, so this is where it's like Elvira Central. Not that there isn't Elvira merch everywhere else, but you also have art show in here. The number of beautiful pieces from all sorts of fan artists, professional, amateur, otherwise, just incredible art. It is one of our favorite Knott's traditions. If you want to see the art more in depth, you can check our last video where we feature everything in there. Cordy's also has transitioned over fully for Scary Farm. You can check out video of all that in our last one as well. So we're not going to be able to take the time that we did with that last time, where it's probably another 10 minutes to look at all of that or so, because we want to try to show you everything, the gauntlet, Forsaken Lake, all of it. All right, so room 13, it's the one that's the most difficult to see, right? Got the entrance returning there. I'm sorry, the exit spot there. But even this year, they've covered up more the top area. See, like that last year, you're able to look right in and kind of see everything. And so there's really nothing much to share on that. One of the things really unique about what Knott's does here, if you're not maybe as hardcore of a Knott's person, is they really keep the Scary Farm covered up. They don't have any real scary out in the day. Everything's very much spooky farm centered, just kind of family friendly Halloween. And then they spice it all up for the evenings, and it's really impressive of that transition. And so that's included in mazes particularly. They keep the mazes pretty well covered up. You have to really know what you're looking for to find them, but it's not something that's gonna take away or scare any little ones or anything like that. I do love this spot here with this Goring 20s representation up there in skeletal form. And these pumpkins all look better than ever. I mean, they definitely freshened them up with the paint jobs there, and they are bright and vivid. And I make great photos in the daytime, and I'm guessing they'll make great photos in the evening. Last night was employee preview night for Scary Farm. But they keep things pretty well wrapped up. Not that you can't find things if you want spoilers out there, but it's not like horror nights where it's like everything's just here it is. You can see 100 different photos of every character, maze, and things like that. So it's a little easier to stay spoiler free on the stuff until opening night. That crazy Wheel of Death is up. The stage looking pretty incredible for Carnival de Grotesque. Would imagine these tables will move out of the way. This will be an open area here. Carnival seems to be the area that got the most love in terms of added props, set pieces, all of that stuff this year. So it'll be really interesting. The clowns have worked for so long without much. I mean, they don't get fog over here. I haven't seen any fog machines to change that this year. They do a lot of work in the bright light with nowhere much to hide, and it's just something to watch. Really incredible. But it looks like this year they'll have a little bit more theming. Every year there's been a little bit more, and this year it definitely went up a whole nother level to give a real carnival theme to everything. So we've got these up everywhere with various characters that really tie in well, not only to Carnival, but to the maze. Mesmer back in the corner. And really even all of this, I think, works okay with Cinema Slasher. I mean, Cinema Slasher doesn't necessarily tie in thematically quite the way that Dark Ride did to all of this, but I don't think it's too big of a jump to hit the theater, to hit the cinema in Carnival as well. It seems to work pretty well, and the maze is so fantastic. Had big shoes to fill taking the spot of Dark Ride. We all, longtime fans, always associate what comes next into a location with what was there before, and it did a great job. Love these handprints. Some bloody stuff went down here. Got the spilled icy. There's been some problems at the carnival. If you notice, as we make our way around, oh, the monkey that was up here is gone now. We'll see where we find, we'll see some monkeys. Yeah, some broken down pieces there from the park. Zoltera, the Mystic Madam. Oh, there we go. Does not look happy. And his barrel of monkeys has broken. There's the electrifying woman. Again, tons of pumpkins. There's nowhere we visit that has more pumpkins, that's for sure. I mean, there are pumpkins everywhere in this park, which is a lot of fun and works well again for daytime. Ophidia, the serpent woman. Over here, we've got another one of the ride vehicles. Larissa, yes, Carnival. This is one of the spots, like right here, right, that you could just sit here all night. It is one of the things about the scare zones. All the scare zones here suck us in. And when we come in on a night where we don't have like a really strict agenda, it's hard not to just watch them work all night. It's so awesome. But yeah, this is really great. Turning in an old ride vehicle into a planter. Very nice touch, very creative. It leans into the kind of overgrown evil that might inhabit the area here, but at the same time, it's not anything that is going to scare the little ones. Kids like these ones can wander through and be good. All right, Sword Swallower. Then up on top of coasters, I love these guys being added. Coasters is one of my favorite backdrops in the park. Like, I just love when they put the Christmas trees up there for Merry Farm. I think it's because I love Happy Days so much. I don't know, it just feels like a little slice of Happy Days. But anyway, got a couple of those maniacal Jack-in-the-Box clowns up there. Mesmer returns here in the back corner. We're not obviously jumping on the train to see anything there, but we'll get another year out of Mesmer as well. So that means another year where we won't have to hang out in the queue of Accelerator for 6 months taking photos of stuff. So that's nice. All right. Hey. Good. How are you? Got some scary features added into the gaming over here. You can win your Universal Monsters, Dracula, or werewolf there. We've got some Carnival clown heads up above and onto the sides where the basketball returns are. Night Bodega. I love the games, but I never win. As a kid, meaning like a middle school, high school kid, I was obsessed with games, particularly here at Knott's Berry Farm. I remember coming for like an 8th grade trip and just playing the basketball thing all day, nonstop as much as I could at least, and trying to win prizes there that then I didn't really have anything to do with, to know what to do with them. But I do love them. I get that. All right. We have seen the Cinema Slasher. This is probably my single favorite addition in terms of park decor this year. If I had to just pick one thing, is adding the slasher facade. I did not know that was even something that could go there. Music on the boardwalk is our favorite. Totally seem like yes. I love it for Barry and Scary too. Yeah, that looks really great. The Ghoul Time Theater set as the backdrop. Yes, rite of passage, spending all the money in 8th grade on games. So true. All right, let's make our way to Fiesta and Forsaken Lake. Looks like we're down to about 10 minutes, so we need to make sure that we're in the gauntlet before that so that it's easy for me to walk you all back out of the park and not get shut down. Amanda, that's awesome. Hope to get more slashers this year. Totally with you. Last year, having Cinema Slasher and Chilling Chambers added, I mean, those were two like real, it felt like for a lot of people like all-time classic mazes. And that's pretty exciting to have two in a year. I feel like, you know, there's been so many great mazes over the years. It feels like if you get one every 2 to 3 years, you got to be happy. But to have two in a single year where it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure in 20 years people are going to talk about these. You know, like a Paranormal Inc. or a Trick or Treat Slaughterhouse. I mean, there's been so many fantastic ones. During the pandemic, we teamed up with our friend Ted Doherty, the Knott's Scary Farm historian, and we did some shows just about exactly that, like our favorite mazes, scare zones, etc. Actually, it's been funny. A few people have reached out recently that they've been watching those that we did back in 2020. But anyway, if you ever want to see a walk down memory lane or listen in to a walk down memory lane, we talk about a lot of different mazes there. But yeah, cinema slasher and more slashers to go with it. Love the gargoyles. Our Knott's Adventure said they wanted gargoyles, and that I've just wait for that opportunity where they have like a little auction or something to get some of those. I'm always stalking eBay, things like that, but they don't show up a ton. I'd love to see those gargoyles come. Justin, love those podcast episodes. Couldn't get enough. Thank you very much. It's a lot as well to kind of have that as a distraction. Larissa, Chilling Chambers and Cinema Slasher also felt a loving homage to old school haunt. Totally agree. Part of probably what made them feel so classic right off the bat. They were just instant classics. So Forsaken Lake, I really love how they have added more pieces and kind of lengthened the footprint. We talked about this in one of the videos from last week, I think, but it's just some great actors. They really do lean into kind of the performance theater side of things a tad more than the strictly scare side of things. If you've ever seen any of their performance moments, and again, one of the neat things at Knott's is those kind of impromptu moments that are not in the show guide. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the gauntlet. But definitely something that happens here in Forsaken Lake. And this year, this lantern activation spot is even more detailed. It's arguably the most detailed of the park. Real quick, Camp Snoopy Jamboree. We can see even the little guys got some pumpkins over there as well. All right. The fog is wafting off of the little water display here. We've got the hearse. Lizzie Borden's got a grave over here. Oh, she's facing front now. I had not noticed that. She's no longer turned around. There we go. That's the gargoyle I want. That exact gargoyle. I have pictures of that gargoyle, I think back in like 2010. A lot of the year, that gargoyle can end up being my screensaver for my phone, my lock screen. So give us those gargoyles. All right. Believe we have about 5 minutes to close. So we're going to make our way into the gauntlet. And then we should be able to kind of slow down on the walk out, but at least we'll make sure to get in there. Check it out. So the signage has been added at the entryway. Again, another maze we've got up here. We're just talking about Chilling Chambers, and it is totally, and that's what they do here. And I think for us Scary Farm fans, totally get it. And hats off to them for being able to do it. Because I think for those of us that are longtime Scary Farm fans, in the years they used to build out in the open a lot more, I don't know that I would have thought that it was possible to have all these mazes and have them pretty well hidden where day guests wouldn't be having them kind of put in their face all the time. But they've done it. Like, there's an awesome, fantastic maze back there, but these day guests, unless they want to know it, they do not know it. They are not even concerned with it. Curious to see what happens in this area here for the nighttime. It feels like this could be used up for queuing space for Chilling Chambers, but who knows, maybe it will be some extra seating there. I'm curious. Another gauntlet sign here. I'm going to get us to the back of the gauntlet so then we can make our way forward. And then I'm going to come back because I see a lot of questions flooding in that I've missing as I'm trying to power walk through here and not walk into anybody. So I'm going to come back to the questions when we get to the stage area. But yeah, feel free to throw them back in there, because in about 3 minutes we'll be turning around and able to hit those questions. Hellshire. So the gauntlet, I've got to admit, the gauntlet last year we walked through, I guess that was night 2. But anyway, we walked through a few times and it was like, oh, it's fine. There's some good monsters in here doing their thing. But it really wasn't until the end of the run that we started taking some real legit time over here and letting kind of their stories unfold and really seeing how interactive the actors were, and that how the sliders show, like we knew there was a slider show that wasn't on the program, or on the app, I should say. But it was pretty wonderful. I had a really good time. Scare zones just want to kind of hang out in. All right, so here we go. If they have slider show stuff move anywhere, or if it was, and I do know they had some challenges with people making their way through the scare zone during those slider shows. We'll see if that alters at all. I guess in 27 hours, 28 hours, whatever it is, we'll know the answer to that. We'll know the answers to a lot of things pretty soon. All right, so we've made our way to the edge of the gauntlet, and now, but I just think Ghost Town Grill is so awesome to just kind of sit out there, even during non-monster times, and see what's going on. Just take in the atmosphere of the park, listen to whatever music's playing, and then they have really solid food there. But funnel cake is also a favorite. I'm not a funnel cake person, so I'm kind of, it's weird going back to 8th grade. I was a massive fan of funnel cake at Knott's, like you go to Knott's to get funnel cake and play carnival games. And I don't play carnival games anymore, and I don't eat funnel cake anymore. But Carmel likes it, and we'll get it occasionally, so I'll have a couple bites there. Larissa, if I don't have buffet tomorrow, what time do you suggest getting to the park if I want to see the opening moment? That is a great question. So I do think opening night is like massive in our circle, like massive with people that would watch a live on Knott's Scary Farm Eve, or even think of Knott's Scary Farm Eve being a thing. But I don't think it's necessarily massive wider than that. So I think for us, we would definitely be trying to park, pulling into park if we could, 5-ish. I mean, in our case, truly what our plan is, even with having the media stuff, it's just to get here as soon as we get out work, leave work, drive down here, and be in the area to kind of be ready. But I think getting here 5-ish puts you in a pretty good spot. The park closes at 5:30 tomorrow. A lot of people going to be making their way out, but I don't think that it'll be quite the crowds that we'll have on Friday or Saturday night. The Gauntlet was our favorite. This is our Knott's Adventure. Slider Show was amazing. Knott's definitely should have promoted this more. It's really interesting on that with those impromptu shows. I was actually thinking, it's funny you say that, because I was thinking a lot about this is in this year. So they have the Elvira XXX experience, right? And that's not really a show as much as more of an experience. Obviously, it's in the title. It seems like it would be a good year to map people, because and the same thing with the hanging. So I do kind of wonder, without having a show as a people eater, where are people going to go? Is it just the other shows are going to get that much more crowded that fast? Not that a slider show is going to eat it all up, and it's too small to really do so anyway. But it will be interesting to see how lines work this year with all of that figured in. The new Camp Snoopy sign is up, and Snoopy finally has his rope. Not Scary Farm related, but nice to see. That was a long summer getting to that point of getting Snoopy his rope. All right, we are just about back to where we began. It's a quick dash around the park. If there's any other questions, feel free to toss them in. Otherwise, we'll start wrapping up here. We do thank you for spending some time on Knott's Scary Farm Eve. Wish you could just fast forward 24 hours and start going through mazes and all of that, but there's another work day in between, and I guess that anticipation will make it that much better when we get here tomorrow night. So with that said, we will be here tomorrow night. We'll have lots of stuff on social media, probably some of the mazes as well. Thank you there, Night Bodega. I was very worried that we'd get through the whole park in the amount of time needed. But yeah, we'll have lots of stuff on social. You can follow along with our parks and cons everywhere. In particular on Instagram and Twitter, you'll see lots of stuff there. Larissa, can't wait. I'm going to toss and turn all night. I hear you. It's like Christmas morning's coming. Our Knott's adventure, the rope completes him. Now he doesn't just look like he's doing the flamenco dance. So true. Perfect place to wrap up here. So once again, thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of the night. Happy haunt season. Lots of videos to come all season long from us, from Knott's and far beyond that. So until next time, we'll see you in line somewhere. Thank you, Amanda.